ॐ वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य आणीस्तः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासि अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्भक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु भक्तारमवतु भक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। Om. May my speech be accorded with the mind. May my mind be accorded with the speech. O self-effulgent one Brahman, reveal thyself to me. May you both, speech and mind, be the carriers of the highest truth to me. May not all that I have heard depart from me. May I be able to join day and night through this study with Brahman. I shall utter what is verbally true. I shall utter what is mentally true. May that Brahman protect me. May that Brahman protect the teacher. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om. Peace, peace, peace be unto you all. Good morning. This morning I am going to speak on a subject. The title is Integration of Self. You know, in Indian philosophy, there are different synonyms on self. In Sanskrit, individual self is called Atman, and the synonyms are soul, spirit, self, and it is considered that Atman or self or spirit or soul is one. Although we consider we individual are separate from each other, but in reality, the oneness of existence, we all are one. From that point of view, integration of self sounds a little bit weird. So, self is one. So, why there is integration? And how can we do this integration? And what is the benefit of integration? Because when it is oneness of existence, it is all one, then from where the question of integration is coming and why it is required, how to do it, and what is the benefit, individual benefit for this integration. Let us think in this way. Individual personalities, it has different dimensions. And this one self, it is connected with each dimension and connects with this world in different ways. And these personalities, these dimensions are arranged in a vertical way. For our understanding, it is not physical. In our personality or within us, there is no any anatomical arrangement that our personality is arranged in a vertical way. So it is only consideration, because personality is not an solid object. So this personality is arranged in a vertical way, and there are names. As for example, it is called, in Sanskrit, it is called Annamaya. So when our self is connected, as it were, with the lowest dimension, it is called the Annamaya. Anna means food. It is connected with food. Our food, enjoyment, merrymaking. So people, those who are only directed to eating, drinking, merrymaking, fun, joy. So those people, we can consider that those people are living or connected with this dimension of their personality. Their personality is connected with this dimension, which is called food and merrymaking and the basic urges, etc., etc. Higher to that is energy. It is in Sanskrit called pranamaya. Prana means energy. The energy level, our energy level maintained by this. Few people are workaholic, huge energetic, and their soul or Atman is connected with that dimension of their personality. The interesting thing is that when a person's personality is connected with that energetic level, energetic dimension, he or she is completely oblivious or completely disconnected with the basic level, means the food, fun making, etc., etc. If a workaholic person, they can easily work without eating a meal or without eating for the most of the days. So they love that. So their personality is connected with that energy level. Then higher to that is the mental level. And we can say the aesthetic people, those who are artists, those who are poet, they can draw picture the whole night. They cannot be tired. So their level is that they can compose poem. They don't care about their dresses. They don't care about their food, their fun trip, etc., etc. So these people their personality is connected with that. So soul is connected with that particular dimension of their personality. And higher to that is called the intellect level. You can say the scientist. They have the same thing. They don't care about painting. They don't care about writing the poem, but they are interested only in their laboratories or to discover something. So in this way, we have, when this soul or self or Atman, the light of Atman, is connected with a specific dimension of personalities of an individual, then his or her behavior changes accordingly. And it has a definite system. It is a dynamic connection. When our self is connected with a specific dimension of our personality, it is not simple connection, it is a dynamic connection. And this connection, our innate system, inborn system, tries to maintain this connection, this kind of arrangement. As for example, I have mentioned the basic dimension of our personality is connected with our body, because we eat, drink, merrymaking, all are connected with our body. We want good dresses, so these are connected with our body. So the basic personality is connected with our body. So those people whose Atman or self is connected with this basic dimension, and those people who like only this eating, drinking and merrymaking, so for them, so body consciousness and most of the people, and it has a specific inbuilt arrangement. As for example, if we are in a cold environment, very cold environment, definitely we wear jackets and we wear warm garments, but at the same time, our body develops a kind of heat, inbuilt heat. Again, if it is now summer, if we are in the midst of very hot environment, there will be the perspiration, and that is actually the cooling effect of our body. So this particular arrangement of our body has some kind of inbuilt mechanism which maintains the relation between individual and the external world. This body is called this homeostasis in biological term, technical term. This particular arrangement is called homeostasis. So this homeostasis principle maintains the equilibrium of individual and the external world. So this is our inbuilt. Exactly in the same way, the prana, the energy level, it has also some inbuilt mechanism that actually keeps the equilibrium or a harmonious relation between an individual and the external world, this prana level. And if this arrangement has some kind of mechanical problem or haphazardly organized, then there will be a problem. And it is considered that our illness may be regarded as a disturbance in this homeostatic balance. This shows how important our physical body is. Again, in the prana, we have a specific arrangement, and this arrangement sometimes mismatch or the mechanical problem arises. As for example, how it arises, as for example, it is a kind of conceptual dissolution or conceptual delusion. When it takes place, when we read some stories or watch some TVs, sometimes we travel far and we think some kind of fantasy which has no relation, no connection with the real world. So when it happens, then it is a kind of mismatch to maintain this equilibrium between the individual and the external world. So prana is the energy level, is the connection between our body and mind. So if mind is little bit restless, if mind is facing some kind of anger, stress, it is the dysfunction of this prana. So prana, you see, when we run, we breathe, and it is connected with breathing. So if you are angry, you see, we take fast breathing, So our breathing is connected with the prana, the energy level, our energy level, and this energy level is connected with our mind. So prana is the connection between our body and mind. This is the connecting link. So exactly in the same way, when we are fantasy, you see, we slow down. When we think kind of fantasy or some kind of irrelevant things, so we slow down. So it is connected with the body, this prana. That means imbalance of this equilibrium state. Then the mind, we can understand it very well because it is more complex. So in mind, we have to play different role. Why? Because you see, when we are in our office, we play the colleague personality. When we are home, we play the father personality. When our parents are there, we play the son personality. And when we are reading the newspaper or watching the news, then we are the citizen personality. So from each personality, it changes. And nothing but what are these personalities? So the personalities are nothing but our egotism or ego. So when the light of Atman or soul is connected with the mental level, mental dimension of our personality, then the complexion begins and we have to play this different role. An individual, but we have to play different role. And when there is some kind of problem, if we continue our role, the office colleague role in our home, there will be problem. If we continue our father role in front of our parents, there will be problem. So this is the disharmony of this equilibrium balance or the connectivity between the self and the different dimension. So from here we can understand, and higher to that there is the intellect level, and when our energy or our soul is connected with the intellect level, which is called Vijnanamaya, so in intellect level, then we have different personality, and at the same time there is also some disharmony of that level. So from this discussion, it is clear that our self is divided into different personalities. So the integration is required. Why integration is required? I have already mentioned that if we do not maintain this integration, then there will be difficulties to maintain our connection with the world. And if we cannot maintain proper connection with the world, we will be left over. So all these isolation, all these conflict, all these meaninglessness, jealousy, hatred come because we are not properly connected with the external world. And what is the reason? The reason is we cannot understand that our self is connected with which dimension of our personality and what is the function of it. And definitely the equilibrium or homeostasis of that particular dimension is disrupted. And that is why we have some problem to connect properly with the world and obviously to our surroundings. So that is why the integration is required. As I have mentioned, that if we play our role, the office colleague role in home, that will be the problem. If we play our father role or citizen role in the office, that will be the problem. So definitely to maintain the proper role, we have to integrate our personality. Now the question is, how to integrate our personality? In two ways we can integrate our personalities. There are various ways actually. In different ways we can integrate our personality, or I would say integrate ourself, because the function of ego is also very complex. This is called ego system. I have mentioned the father ego, the citizen ego, or the son ego. All these are this whole system is called ego system. And everything, as you can understand, ego is as it were, and it starts from the level of mind. In prana level or in the basic level, body level, there is no any function of ego, because the awareness, these three levels, mind, prana, energy level, and the basic level, these three levels are independent. They don't have self-awareness. That is why they work independently and they work haphazardly. So the problem comes in our body, sickness, illness. The problem comes our energy. Energy is connected with the mind. So in mind and obviously in energy level also, we sometimes do not find energy or do not want to work. The tamas and rajas comes for this. And then the mind, obviously we have different complex situation we have to face through our mind. So that is why, and from the intellect level, actually the awareness comes. because it is very closely connected with our self. The proof of self is awareness. Nowhere you can find this awareness. The first proof of our self, that yes, we have our self or consciousness, is I exist. And it is self-proved. Nothing is required in this universe. If you want to prove something, you have to take help from some means. As for example, if you have to prove this table, then you need your eyes and light, and then only you can prove that here it is a table, I can see it. In Sanskrit it is called pratyaksha or perception. So for perception is the great proof. So perception needs our eyes. But I exist. Do you need anything to prove to yourself that I exist? It is self-proved. Nothing is required. Nothing is required to prove you exist. Well, sometimes it is very difficult to conceptualize that we exist. It is a little difficult because we do not practice that. But the awareness, I am standing and delivering my talk here, and you are aware of that. When I will not be here, then also you will be aware that nobody is there. So this awareness is another proof of the self. We are aware of that. This awareness, not the alertness. So then comes the alertness. But awareness is another proof, the self-awareness. We are here. This awareness is another proof of our self. And this awareness, you need not require anything to prove this awareness. It is inbuilt. It comes from within. So this awareness, self-awareness, comes from intellect. At the intellect level, this comes. So intellect is very closely connected with our self. So self is very connected. It is very organized. So everything is controlled by buddhi or intellect. So everything will come to intellect to seek order. Our senses, body is the senses. Whether you will raise your hand or not, who will give this command? The intellect. Yes, you can do that right now. Your mind, you want to go right side or left side? Who will give this direction? Your intellect. Mind is saying do this, but your intellect will say not do this. So intellect. So intellect is very close because it is the awareness, and it is very close to our Atman or self. Now, how can we integrate these different dimensions, and how can we integrate the self, this apparently divided self? How can we integrate those things? There are two ways to integrate those things, because which is connected with that, those are the means. Two things are connected with all the dimensions. One is prana or energy. If we don't energy, we cannot function. Not a single dimension can function if energy is not there. So energy is connected with all the dimensions. The basic dimensions, the energy dimension obviously, then the mind, then the intellect, with everything, this prana. That is why pranayama. We can control our body, mind, and I have already mentioned that prana, the energy level, is connected with mind and body. So if you can control your mind, body will automatically be controlled. If you can control your body, mind can automatically be controlled. If you can sit for meditation, you are stilling your body, no action, no movement. Then slowly your mind will become calm and quiet. So body is very closely connected with our mind. And what is the connection link? The prana, energy. What is the expression of prana? Breathing is the expression of prana. That is the gross level. Now, the prana is connected with everything. So by controlling prana, we can integrate these things, because prana is connected with all the dimensions. And one of these, the Hatha Yoga people, they do that. Then the pranayama is another way of connecting all the dimensions of that. But there is a drawback in this particular integration system, because it is a kind of piecemeal attempt, to integrate different dimensions. Many of those who follow it get stalled at the body level and thus fail to achieve full integration. Moreover, some of these physical exercises make the body so sensitive that any deviation from the rigid routine may cause serious physical or mental disorder. So, we can do it, but unless there is a qualified teacher, or it can be done very carefully, there is a risk. The second way of doing this integration is based on the transformation of consciousness. In Upanishad, this prana is called satyam, truth. But the consciousness is called satyasya satyam, truth of the truth. So, by this consciousness, because consciousness is pervaded everywhere in an individual, so it is connected with all the dimensions of an individual. So, we can integrate our different dimensions through this consciousness, transformation of consciousness. What is the transformation of consciousness? The essential nature of Atman, I have mentioned, the self-awareness. And I have also mentioned that the lower dimension, 3 dimensions, the basic dimension, the prana or energetic dimension, and the mind dimensions, these are not connected with the self directly. They are independent kind of. That is why they are not in a right tune with all the different dimensions. So how can we do that? There are different ways by transforming consciousness, but I would refer here only 2 ways. The first way is that ideological way. Ideological way means set one particular goal. When our different dimensions become disharmonious, it is because the orchestra sounds, out of tune when different dimension works in different way. So that is the cause of disharmony. So how to bring them in tune? Take one certain ideal and fix it. Try to achieve that ideal by your thought, by your action, by your mind, by your intellect. So involve to fulfill that ideal through all the dimensions. What that ideal may be? Well, number one, God realization. God realization is the summum bonum of human life. So what you are doing, what you are thinking, what you are eating, what you are wearing, everything dedicated or direct towards a God realization, which is not aligned, which is not adding something to the concept of God realization, don't do it. This is number one, ideal. Second ideal, what Swami Vivekananda said, manifestation of the potential divinity in man. So whatever we are doing, whatever we are eating, whatever we are thinking, everything is nothing but the way to manifest our potential divinity. So which is helping to manifest our potential divinity, we shall do that. Other thing, we do not do that. Or everything we have, our attitude should be to manifest the potential divinity. So which is helping us to manifest the potential divinity, those things we shall do. So this is the ideologically we can transform our consciousness. So everything, our all dimensions are performing to fulfill, to attain one particular goal, realization of God or manifest the potential divinity in man. So this is the ideological integration. Second integration is by the path of jnana. So how can we do it by the path of jnana? It is maintaining some kind of awareness. What is that awareness? We are self, and self is eternal, and self is pure, immortal. So we are nothing but self. This is body, and we are self. This is the attitude. So we maintain this kind of attitude always. Whatever we do, whatever we think, whatever we eat, wherever we go, maintain this attitude alive, this consciousness alive, this feeling alive in your mind. Sri Ramakrishna gave a very beautiful, very simple example. How can we maintain this kind of consciousness, awareness in every walks of our life? Sri Ramakrishna said that if you have a toothache, what happens? You do everything, but you feel every moment that pain, that you have, that alertness, that awareness you must maintain, that you have this kind of pain in your teeth. So this is the second way of integrating. So when we practice and we establish in that particular awareness, the light of Atman, as it were, percolate all our dimensions, and then it can tune or bring all the dimensions on the same page. So that is a kind of integration of different dimensions in the through consciousness in the path of jnana. Then there is another path which is called the path of bhakti. And in the path of bhakti, what we said, that antarjami, the inner controller, what is happening, everything is controlled by the inner controller. There is something which is called antarjami, and he is sitting there and he is controlling everything. And in Bhagavatam, a beautiful example is given to explain this particular attitude. It is in the story of Dhruva, So Dhruva, through prayer, worship and meditation, these are the ways we generally apply in Bhakti Yoga. So we pray, we meditate, we worship. So these are the ways. And when it is properly done, divine light or power into every part of our personality, purifying, integrating and transforming these things. So like a person, antarjami or inner controller, sits within and he is controlling everybody. I do not have any control over my body, over my mind, but somebody, the inner controller, is sitting within us and controlling us through this. So in Bhagavatam, Dhruva expressed it when the little boy had practiced meditation for some time. He realized the Lord as his inner controller. Then he opened his eyes and beheld the corporeal form of the Lord. So Lord appears before him when he opened his eyes. And then he uttered this expression of his inner experience. He said, "Salutation to you, omnipotent Lord, who having entered my inner being, enliven through your willpower my dormant thoughts, my arm, feet, sense organs, and prana." It is wonderful, the verse, Bhagavatam 4:9-6. There he says, "Yantaha pravishya," means enter, "mama vachas mimang prasuptang sanjivayati akhila shakti dhara swadhamna anyasya hasta charana sravana tyagadin pranan namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam." So everything you enliven. So it is just like that, it is the integration of everything. So that is another, through the path of bhakti, we can, if we surrender antaryamin, sitting inside, God can control or integrate our different diverse personality. So, to conclude this integration of self is this, that we have different types of personality. The first thing is that we have to connect. The more higher level we can connect, obviously, the more benefit we can get. The only eating, living, merrymaking, and the fun, I have already told you that the fun is this, the important point is this: when we are connected with a particular level, the lower level we forget. We are completely devoid of the lower level. And it is obvious, we all want the good thing, the better thing, the best thing. And when we take the better or best thing, the inferior thing will go away from us. We need not renounce. Somebody says that in Indian philosophy or Indian spirituality, we have to renounce a lot. There is no question of renouncing anything, only to accept the higher thing. Automatically, the lower thing will be renounced. You have a car and you love that car, but you buy a higher quality car, the Toyota, the best quality of Toyota, or IBM, the best quality of IBM. Then immediately your favorite car, you will divide your favorite car, you will renounce your favorite car, and you will be connected with your higher quality car. Similar case in the house. You like your house, you buy a beautiful house. Immediately you connect. So we need the higher good thing. And when we are connected with the higher good thing, then automatically the lower thing will go. So exactly in the same way, we have to understand, we have to accept which one is the higher thing. So in our personality dimension, that is a vertically arranged, the higher level, we can have more enjoyment, more life in it. So if we connect ourselves or the light of Atman with the higher dimension, then automatically the lower dimension will go and we can enjoy better life. So that is the way to connect. So first we have to elevate ourselves, transform. That is why it is called transformation of consciousness. We have to transform from one level to another level or transit. We have to one level to another level. And then this lower level we cannot live like that. We have to connect that in the tune of our whole integrated personality. So that's why this integration of self is very important to keep our pace, to keep our relation with the external world properly. At the same time, we can elevate ourselves spiritually. There is a conflict between the external world and the spirituality. This conflict will be resolved if we can integrate our personality. When the personality is not integrated, divided, then one personality is working with the external world, the other personality is working for spiritual development. It will not happen. It is unrealistic and difficult. So the integration of personality is very important. When we face some difficulties in the society, just close the door. Think yourself that there is some problem in the integration, in the homeostasis of our personality, and try to repair it, bring it in equilibrium, and we will be happy. Thank you. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkham apnuat, sarvastarotu durgani, sarvo bhadrani pashyatu, sarva sadbuddhim apnotu, sarva sarvatra nandatu, durjana sajjano bhuyat, sajjana shantim apnuat, shantam uchyete bandhebhyo, muktaschanyan vimochayet. May the Supreme Spirit, the presiding deity of all sacred activities, be satisfied. For He being pleased, the whole universe feels satisfied. Peace, peace, peace be unto you all.